Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that's going to completely flip how you look at movies. We're talking about the screenplay. Now, you might be thinking a screenplay is kind of like a novel, right? Something you cozy up and read by the fire. But honestly, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's actually this highly functional, incredibly technical starting point that makes the entire final product possible. Imagine, just for a second, trying to build a massive, towering skyscraper without any architectural drawings. Would you just hand a bunch of steel and glass to the construction crew and say, "Hey, have at it"? No way. It'd be chaos. Everyone would be completely confused about what to build, where to even begin, or how all those pieces actually fit together. Well, filmmaking is absolutely no different. Before a single camera rolls, before actors perform, and before editors cut the footage, there is one critical document guiding literally every person on set. And that document is the screenplay. Think of it strictly as the foundational, written blueprint of a film. It's the magic tool that transforms a creative vision into a physical production reality. What's really fascinating here is that a screenplay is written specifically for filmmakers, not for casual readers. It's a precise set of instructions wrapped up in a compelling narrative, giving every single department exactly what they need to get the job done. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at 1. The filmmaking blueprint, 2. Visual and audio storytelling, 3. The 5 essential parts, 4. One script, many teams, and 5. Avoiding beginner mistakes. Kicking things off with Section 1, the filmmaking blueprint. To really understand the screenplay, we have to establish exactly where it fits into the overall timeline of a film's creation. It goes like this. Every great film starts as just a spark, an idea. That idea gets fleshed out into a brief synopsis and eventually expands into a detailed treatment. But the absolute critical bridge right before actual production begins, that's the screenplay. It is the exact last step of the development phase and the exact jumping-off point for physical production. You just can't jump from a treatment directly to filming. You absolutely must have that blueprint locked in first. Moving right along to Section 2, visual and audio storytelling. This is where writing for the screen completely diverges from writing a book. The absolute golden rule here is to write only what the audience can see and hear. Film is entirely a visual and auditory medium, right? So a screenwriter can't rely on those long flowing descriptions or internal thoughts you'd find in a novel. You can't spend paragraphs explaining a character's hidden backstory. Literally, if the audience sitting in that movie theater cannot physically see it happening on screen or physically hear it coming through the speakers, it does not belong in the script. You have to stick strictly to external action. Let me give you an example. Writing something like "Allie feels nervous" works perfectly in a novel. But think about it. You can't point a camera at "feels nervous." Instead, if we write, "Allie hesitates before opening the door, his hands tremble." Boom! We are physically showing that emotion. We can actually film a hesitation. We can film trembling hands. It lets the audience instantly understand the nervousness without the writer ever having to spoon-feed it to them. Which brings us to Section 3, the 5 essential parts. Let's look at the actual mechanics of a screenplay by seeing how a single cinematic scene is built, piece by piece. Every standard screenplay relies on 5 essential tools: the scene heading, the action, the character name, the dialogue, and the parentheticals. Let's see how these actually stack together to create a movie moment. It all kicks off with number 1, the scene heading. Industry folks often call this a slug line. So, Inti, mountain cabin, morning. In just a few words, this instantly dictates crucial information for the crew. Inti tells them it's an interior location, so they know they need to build or find the inside of a mountain cabin. And they know the lighting department needs to prep for a morning time of day. It provides immediate context for the setting. Next up, we have number 2, action. Our text reads, "Sunlight spills through a small window. An elderly shepherd quietly sharpens his knife." Notice how these lines describe exactly what we see happening in that mountain cabin. It's strictly visual, it's immediate, and it paints a crystal clear picture for the director and the cinematographer to frame up. Number 3 is the character name. Right before someone speaks, their name is placed dead center on the page, in this case, grandson. This tells the actors exactly who is talking. It's all about maintaining absolute clarity and consistency, so there is never, ever any confusion on set about whose line it is. Right beneath that character name, we get number 4, dialogue. The grandson says, "Will anyone remember this place?" Dialogue represents what the characters actually say out loud. And here's the thing, every single line of dialogue must serve a purpose.
It needs to sound natural, reveal character, create conflict, or push the story forward. You simply don't have time for empty chit-chat in a screenplay.
And finally, number 5, parentheticals. Squeezed right there between the character name and the dialogue, you'll sometimes see a brief direction for delivery, like whispering. This helps clarify exactly how the line should be spoken. But a quick warning here for aspiring writers. These should be used very sparingly. A great writer trusts their actors and their director to interpret the scene rather than micromanaging every single sigh and whisper.
Moving on to Section 4, one script, many teams. We've built our scene, but now we need to look at the screenplay as the ultimate collaborative hub, connecting a massive web of creative departments.
I mean, just look at the sheer scale of a film crew. A screenplay isn't just for the writer. It's a shared vision. The director uses it to plan performances. The cinematographer uses those scene headings and action lines to plan their camera shots. The production designer reads it to know what sets to build. The costume designer checks it to prep wardrobes. The sound team relies on it to know what audio to capture, and the editor uses that exact same script to assemble the final story. Every single department relies heavily on this one shared document.
Let's wrap things up with Section 5, avoiding beginner mistakes. Now that we know how a script actually works, let's look at a few common traps new writers fall into, so you know exactly what to avoid. A classic beginner mistake is trying to write an internal memory. Something like, he remembered his childhood and felt sadness. Well, the audience can't see someone remembering. You literally cannot film an internal memory. But if the script says, he pauses, staring at an old family photograph, you've just translated internal sadness into an external, visible action that the camera can actually capture. See the difference? Another major misstep is throwing camera directions, like zoom in or pan left, into every scene. Unless a writer is also directing the film themselves, the best practice is to leave those technical camera instructions out entirely. Focus purely on the narrative storytelling and let the cinematographer and director handle the camera work.
To summarize everything we've covered today, I absolutely love this professional insight from our source material. Great screenplays don't tell readers what characters think, they show audiences what characters do. It is just such a perfect reminder that cinema is ultimately a language of images and sound. The stronger your visual storytelling is, the stronger your foundational blueprint becomes.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to really drive home the core philosophy of visual cinema. The next time you're analyzing a movie, or maybe even sitting down to write your own, ask yourself, are you simply telling your audience what is happening, or are you truly showing them? Master the art of showing, and you absolutely master the screenplay. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I can't wait to dive into our next topic with you.